Welcome to the Bald Brad Show. In today's episode, we have two stories for you, one in which we have AOC versus Elon Musk, and then we have Joe Biden pushing through the student loan debt forgiveness. And surprisingly, there is a connection to be made between the two, and we'll get to that in just a moment. But as always, if you want to support the Bald Brad Show, or heck, support a conservative, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, share this link with your friends and family all over social media. And with that being said, let's jump into the article. The article reads, AOC says she wants to sell her Tesla. The young lawmaker made the announcement just weeks after SpaceX and Tesla CEO Elon Musk announced his support for the Republican Party. Earlier this week, AOC said she was initially very happy when she bought her Tesla 3 back in 2020 by saying, quote, "It was the only electric vehicle that get me from New York to Washington on like 1 or 1.5 charges," she told Bloomberg. Now that Musk has embraced the Republican Party, AOC no longer wants the vehicle. It's icky. It's gross. Those Republicans, yucky. Ugh. It's so silly, folks. But again, you have silly things coming out of a silly person. Now that Musk has embraced the Republican Party, she no longer wants it. And she says, quote, "I would love to switch," she added, pointing to her desire to purchase a vehicle made by unionized workers. According to the Bloomberg report, the only union-made electric vehicle for sale in the U.S. are the Chevrolet Bolts, the slightly larger Bolt EUV, and Ford's F-150 Lightning pickup. Only the Bolt was available in sale or for sale in 2020. Senator Ted Cruz, however, has voiced his consideration for purchasing a Musk vehicle and is thrilled that the billionaire businessman has chosen his home state for manufacturing. Quote, "When Elon moved to Texas, I spent 45 minutes on the phone with him, urging him to come to Texas and saying, look, we like jobs in Texas. We don't want you to shut down. We want you to come here and hire a bunch of Texans." Of Musk and his apparent GOP support, AOC added, "He's a billionaire. I could care less what he thinks." Again, to AOC, the squad, Bernie Sanders, all these leftist progressives that say that they're Democrats when in fact they're borderline socialist or full socialist like Bernie Sanders that just claims to be independent. They think all these billionaires are evil. They're wrong. They're disgusting. Look, if she didn't like him as a billionaire, if she didn't like what he was doing, she would have never bought a Tesla in the first place. But now because he's swinging his vote to Republican, all of a sudden he's icky. It just switched on a dime like that. In the same way, they can never tell you when a billionaire or a rich person goes from good to evil, right? Like at what moment in time were they always bad? Were they always evil when they didn't have money? Or when all of a sudden they have money, are they evil now? They can never answer this question because they don't have linear logic. On Thursday night, Musk tweeted at AOC, pointing at billionaires and politicians. He wrote, "Who do you trust less?" Real question. At the time of this reporting, almost 3 million people had voted in the poll. The response is overwhelmingly anti-politician, with more than 75% of respondents saying they had less trust in politicians. Musk then added, "AOC, I dare you to run the same poll with your followers." Now, there is a thing with surveys like this called response bias, where people are going to tell you things you want to hear, or you're going to have some sort of bias and people favoring the response towards your direction. So because Elon Musk is not a politician, but a billionaire, his people are following him, he's catering more likely to his followers, that those followers are going to vote for the billionaire rather than the politician. And what we'd expect to see if AOC was to run the same survey with her followers, that they would vote politicians rather than billionaires. Now, we could be wrong on that. We'd have to wait to see if she actually does push that same survey out. I think it would be interesting and fascinating. But the other thing I find fascinating here, and this is where I'm kind of make the connection to student loan debt forgiveness that Joe Biden's pushing, is you have AOC saying, "I'm going to sell my Tesla." One, nobody cares. Sell your Tesla. The company already has your money. Do what you want with it. But I'm also saying that she can actually use the money because she has student loan debt herself. Now, remember, AOC makes 6 figures, folks. I think she makes upwards of like $174,000 a year being in Congress. And she can't pay off $17,000 of student loan debt. But yet she's saying, "Oh, I would love to switch. I want to buy a new Tesla," and all these things. Well, why don't you sell the Tesla and use it for your student loan debt? If you recall, we talked about this a few weeks ago, and we actually utilized the same article here from the Daily Wire, where we said in late 2021, AOC stated on the House floor that it was ridiculous that she needed to pay $17,000 in student loans. I'm 32 years old now. I have over $17,000 in student loan debt. And I didn't go to graduate school because I knew that getting another degree would drown me in debt that I would never be able to surpass. That is unacceptable. Folks, her annual salary is $174,000 and she can't pay off $17,000 in student loan. You're doing something wrong. You're drastically doing something wrong if you can't pay off that amount in like one fell swoop. So she's the one in Congress. If you recall, Congress has the keys to the purse, and she can't pay off $17,000 in student loan, but yet in 2020 she could buy a Tesla. I mean, the shenanigans that goes on with her. And I love this photo down here at the bottom of her crying, which is why I read it the way I did. It just blows my mind that these politicians are trying to pass something that's not our responsibility. I didn't take out that student loan debt. You're the one that decided to go get your degree. And now you're not deciding to go get another degree in graduate school because you realize that all of a sudden you can't pay for it because you're gonna be drowning in debt, but yet you can't pay off the debt that you already have. But in 2020, you go buy a Tesla. So I say sell the damn Tesla, put it towards that 17,000 you have right there. Hopefully you'll be debt free. And then we don't have to hear you complain anymore. And then, hey, you don't need loan debt or forgiveness anymore. But it's not going to stop the president from still pushing it, because now we have Biden reportedly planning to cancel some student loan debt. Both Democrats and Republicans criticize the plan, which seems like there are some sane people still in Congress. President Joe Biden is reportedly close to announcing a plan to forgive a certain amount of student loan debt. The details of the plan triggered criticism from both Republicans and Democrats. What is Biden planning on doing here? The White House is finalizing a plan to cancel $10,000 of student loan debt per borrower, the Washington Post reported on Friday. We've heard this number a lot of times. We've heard numbers like 50,000, 100,000, which we'll get to in a moment. Americans who earn $150,000 per year or less would qualify for the full amount of forgiveness, while married couples who earn $300,000 would qualify for up to $20,000 of forgiveness if each spouse owes at least $10,000 student loan debt. Folks, those are big numbers. Americans who owe $150,000, who earn $150,000 a year or less, that is a lot of money. If you're making six figures and you can't pay off $10,000 of debt or whatever, you're not handling your finances correctly. I know people don't want to hear that, but it's just a fact. You did something wrong. You made some sort of mistake prior, or you didn't calculate something correctly. You didn't think about it through or follow it through. And if you're making six figures and you can't pay off $10,000 or anything like that, you're doing something wrong. Look, I had over $60,000 in debt. I don't make six figures, folks. I don't make anywhere near six figures. And I was able to pay off over $60,000 in a year and a half. Okay. So this whole thing of AOC making $174,000, people making $300,000, $150,000, all these things, and they can't pay off their debt, they're not doing something right. Okay. There's something off. But hey, we're all responsible for that. We're all responsible for their actions and things that they did, even though we had no say into it. Well, it says the White House has been deliberating the plan for months and was scheduled to announce it as early as this weekend. But according to the White House delayed those plans because of the latest mass killing in Texas. Importantly, the plan is not solidified and could still change. No decisions have been made yet, but as a reminder, no one has been required to pay a single dime of student loans since the president took office, said the White House spokesperson Patel. Biden would enact the plan through executive order. I'm so tired of these executive orders. It's treating the president as though he's a king. He's a freaking, he's an overseer. He's all authority, which I don't like. Republican or Democrat, I'm not a big fan of executive orders just pushing through things, utilizing that method. I think it's wrong, and I don't think it's right, and I think it's an overreach of the executive branch. Biden would enact the plan through, again, executive order. Student loan debt cancellation would not pass Congress because only a minority of lawmakers, which is why he's going to utilize that executive order. So only a minority of lawmakers, although the number is growing, support the student loan debt cancellation. Still, if Biden took executive action, it would be immediately challenged in court, perhaps leaving borrowers in limbo for several years. The current outstanding student loan debt liability is $1.6 trillion. Biden's plan would wipe out the total balance of approximately 1/3 of borrowers. Now, I don't know if that's federal student loan debt or if that's a totality of private versus governmental debt. I'm not too sure on that. But this whole thing of that you're responsible as a taxpayer for somebody else's decisions in terms of taking out student loan is just mind-boggling to me. I mean, why stop at student loan? Why not move over to mortgage? Why not move over to car debt? Or auto loans? I mean, why are we stopping here with this? I mean, debt's crippling everybody. And if it's crippling them, again, that was the decision they should have thought of before they ever took out that debt in the first place. And it's not up to the taxpayers, it's not up to the federal government to bail you out. And again, that logic is linear all the way to the banks back with Barack Obama days. I don't think the federal government should have bailed out the banks. It's not our job. It's not our duty. It's not our responsibility. That was them. And I understand there would have been a collapse. I understand things would have been bad. But again, it leads a bad precedent because now we all have to bail out some sort of entity or individual now because of what happened before. Well, how much does the plan, they have a mistake here. How much does the plan cost? While the exact details of the plan remain unknown, estimates from the Committee of the Responsible Federal Budget, a nonpartisan think tank, suggests canceling $10,000 of student loan debt per borrower would cost taxpayers at least $230 billion. The CRFB believes such a plan would mostly benefit wealthier Americans, those in the top half of the income spectrum, worsen inflation, and ultimately leave the major problem of college tuition prices unsolved. Which is exactly right. People are going to continually pay these prices, meaning people are going to continually take out the student loan debts, which doesn't solve anything. You're just going to have the prior generations and the prior generations go ahead and incur debt. And so what are we supposed to do? Just wait another generation, and then we're just going to throw out another $230 billion, and then wait another generation, throw out another $230 billion. And this was my problem with paying off this stuff in the first place. It doesn't solve the problem. It doesn't fix the problem. If people are going to be bad with their money, they're going to be bad with their money. If their rate of return is not what they expected, that's their fault, not ours. You didn't do that calculation in the first place. If you decide to go to Harvard compared to, say, a state school, and you're both going for the same job, getting the same salary, the person that went to the state school is probably getting a better rate of return on their education than the person that went to Harvard and probably paid all that money. Now, again, that was a basic example, but I think my point's getting across. Democrats reacted with dismay that Biden is planning to cancel only $10,000 of debt, while Republicans expressed outrage that any debt at all would be forgiven. You have Derek Johnson, president of the NAACP, said that canceling $10,000 in student loan debt is like pouring a bucket of ice water on a forest fire. $10,000 in cancellation would be a slap in the face, Johnson added in a statement that was retweeted by AOC. President Biden is not about whether you can do it, it's about whether or not you have the will to do it. Journalist Higgins agreed. I am so frustrated and disappointed with the White House's apparent decision on student loans. $10K if you make under $150,000, that's it. After all, there's organizing in so many appeals for marginalized people. This is not to get people to the polls, or more importantly, to help them. You have Democratic politician Nina Turner even claimed only canceling $10,000 in student debt is extremely inequitable. It's mind-blowing that they're like the limit's $150,000 or $300,000 with a married couple. The national median household income is, I think, $70,000 in the United States. So you're telling me that people are making six figures and they can't pay off their student debts? Again, it doesn't fix the problem. And they're saying it's going to fix the problem. How many times in this country have we given programs just money? Oh, homeless, throw money at it. Throw trillions of dollars at homeless and it'll fix the problem. Hasn't fixed the problem at all. In some states, it's only made things worse, like the state of California. So throwing money at the problem doesn't work. The same people that want to throw money at education and grades aren't changing, and then they hound, oh, well, we're not throwing enough money at it, but we're continually throwing billions and billions of dollars at education and things aren't changing. You know, it's the definition of insanity here. And they think this is going to change things. They think that this is going to help everything, which in reality, it's not going to. You're just going to have the prior generations do the exact same thing the current generation's doing, or the generations that have already done it. Doesn't fix the problem. Well, on the other hand, Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas described Biden's plan as a student loan transfer. Why should a waitress who didn't attend college pay for the student loan debt of a lawyer making $300,000? Perfect example. This is exactly what will happen under Biden's student loan transfer plan, Cotton said. There's no such thing as student loan forgiveness. There's only transferring the debt from those who took the loans and benefited to those who didn't attend college or responsibly paid off their debts. It just gets passed down to somebody else, folks, and that's consistently the theme of the Democrat Party. They always want to say something's free health care, right? Student loan debt forgiveness. It's not forgiveness anything. You're just giving and passing it down to somebody else, like those that never went to college. Maybe you have a plumber, electrician, an elevator union, whatever, or an elevator repairman, like whatever you did that you never went to college, you just went to a trade school. For somehow you're going to have to foot the bill now for these other people that decided to take out this debt. So you have AOC, you have Biden, which was the connection that I was making. With AOC should just sell her Tesla, help pay off some of that $17,000 she have in student loan debt when she's making $174,000 a year, which is mind blowing. She'd have to sell her Tesla to do it in the first place. But, you know, again, we're all responsible for other people's finances, and I'd have a tough time thinking this would go through, and I think it would be stopped at the courts. I don't think the president should have, again, this gets more in a legal base. I don't think the president should have the right to enact an executive order to pay off somebody else's debt. I think that's a far overreach of that branch. And that's why we have checks and balances. And I think it would stop there. I don't think it's actually going to go through. And thank God we still have Democrats on the other side of the aisle that have some sort of sanity, because when you read things from AOC, Ilhan Omar, Bernie Sanders, these nutsos, It just doesn't make sense. And it's only going further to the left, meaning the Democrat Party is only moving further left in the insanity and the stuff they're coming up with, folks. Again, I say it every show, this is the party that wants to sit there and give free health care to everybody, allow illegal immigrants to pour across the border and consume our structures that we have in place, our institutions, like our health care, walk into an ER, just get free health care right over there, have to be foot the bill from all of us because they can't pay for it. Or they're using this plan here to redistribute wealth in some way, shape, or form. They have to have other people pay off the debt. I mean, there's no responsibility from the Democrat Party. It's always, woe me, help me. I didn't do it. I had nothing to do with this. You know, same example they use with abortion. Oh, it's inconvenient. Oh, woe me. I had sex. I had a baby. Oh, I should kill it now. It's always woe me. It's never taken on personal responsibility. That's one thing the Democrat Party, in my opinion, really lacks, where that's something I think the Republican Party really excels in. And I think more so that comes from a religious belief where it's personal responsibility. You have personal responsibility and free will based on your actions, in which you're going to be judged by a greater power, a greater authority, which would stop you from making foolish and silly decisions. And to tie it all together there with the aspect of religion, it is foolish to incur debt that you can't pay off. It's not somebody else's responsibility. It's your responsibility. With that being said, folks, thank you so much for joining me here at the Bald Brad Show. I really hope you enjoyed this show today. Be on the lookout for our Saturday Supernatural special that we're going to show. I shouldn't really call it a special, but it's an episode where we'll do another reaction, or we'll talk about aliens, ghosts, the paranormal. We don't know what we're going to do here yet, but we're definitely going to do something. So be on the lookout tomorrow, Saturday, for Saturday Supernatural, or as we're calling it, Supernatural Saturdays. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button and share this link with your friends and family all over social media. And folks, I will see you later here on the Bald Brad Show.